when the world feels heavy on your mind. Take a breath and let the noise unwind. This is your moment to let go. Welcome to recess for the soul.
Hey family, welcome back to Recess for the Soul. I know it's been a while, but I took the try something new moment from episode 2 of this season literal. I took some time for myself and I feel renewed. I hope you did the same. If not, there's still time. But I'm glad you're here right now in this moment with me. Wherever you're listening from right now, whether you're in the car, in the kitchen, folding clothes, sitting in the parking lot for a few extra minutes before heading inside, or maybe just trying to catch your breath before the day asks for more than you feel like giving, I want you to know this space is for you. Today's episode is called Spring Forward. And no, I'm not just talking about the time change. I'm talking about life doing what life always seems to do, nudging us forward, even when part of us still wants to linger in what was familiar. I'm talking about the strange, beautiful tension between who we were, who we've been, and who we are slowly becoming. Because spring has a way of making you notice things. It makes you notice the light stays a little longer. It makes you notice the air changing. It makes you notice what survived the winter. It makes you notice sometimes you need to let go of some things that you've held on to for too long, which then comes with cleaning. And sometimes it makes you notice that you did too, survive the winter. There's something about this time of year that feels personal. It's not loud like New Year's. It's not dramatic. It doesn't come with all the pressure of New Year, New Me. Spring feels softer than that, kinder than that. Spring says, you don't have to become someone else overnight. Just thaw out a little. Open the window. Let some fresh air in. Start there. And maybe that's what some of us need. Not a total reinvention. Not a 5-step plan. Not even a life makeover. Just permission to come back to life in small ways. When the seasons change, so do we. I think one of the reasons spring feels so nostalgic is because it reminds us of old versions of ourselves. Spring feels like recess when you were in school. It feels like hearing screen doors slam somewhere in the neighborhood. It feels like fresh cut grass and bikes laid down in driveways. It feels like church clothes on Easter Sunday. It feels like Saturday mornings with the windows cracked open and somebody in the house cleaning to music you didn't appreciate enough back then. This is my favorite. It feels like field days, family cookouts, the smell of charcoal, sandals on pavement, and the daylight that somehow felt like it would never run out. Spring carries memory. It reminds us of who we were before life got so scheduled. Before everything had to be optimized, Before rest had to be earned. Before joy had to fit into a calendar invite. I think we can all chuckle at that one. And I think that's why this season can hit your heart a little differently. Because it doesn't just bring change outside of you, it wakes up something inside of you too. Maybe it wakes up hope. Maybe it wakes up grief. Maybe it wakes up desire. Or maybe it wakes up old dreams you tucked away because life got practical. But one thing spring rarely does is leave you untouched. It stirs something. And sometimes that stirring can feel confusing because you can be grateful for where you are and still miss what you used to be. You can love your life now and still feel tender about the seasons that are gone. You can be growing and still feel tired. You can be moving forward and still look back every now and then. That doesn't mean you're stuck. That means you're human. Some of us have been so busy surviving that we forgot how to notice beauty. We got used to carrying things, handling things, pushing through things, making it work. And then a season like spring comes around and quietly asks a question we may not have asked ourselves in a while. What is still alive in you? Not what's productive in you, not what's useful in you, not even what impresses people, but what is still alive in you. What still lights up when nobody's watching? What still softens when the right song comes on? What still makes you laugh from deep down, And what still makes you believe there's more ahead of you than what you've already seen? That's the thing about spring. It doesn't force. It invites. It says, come outside. It says, try again. It also says, I know it's been a long winter, but look, something is blooming. In my city, it's the azaleas. And you don't have to rush to bloom. Now, let's be honest. Springing forward sounds real nice until life starts asking for more energy than you actually have, right? Because for some of us, this season doesn't feel exciting right away. It feels exhausting. The clock changes, the routines change, the weather teases you. It may even be storming where you are right now, and it was just beautiful yesterday. One day it's beautiful, the next day it's confused. That's South Georgia for you, because that's where I live. And honestly, some of us feel the same way. You want to move forward, but you're still tired. You want to be hopeful, but you've had some heavy days. You want to feel new, but parts of you still feel worn. And I want to say this clearly. There is no shame in slow growth. Everything that blooms doesn't bloom at the same speed. Some things blossom early. Some things take a little more sun. Some things need pruning first. I can see my grandma now in her flower bed. And some things look dead and were actually just resting. Some things look dead and were actually just resting. Maybe that's been you. Maybe you judged yourself too harshly in the last season. Maybe you called yourself lazy when you were depleted. Maybe you called yourself unmotivated when you were disappointed. Maybe you called yourself stuck when really you were healing in places nobody could see. And I'm not just talking to you in this moment. I'm talking to myself as well. That's what took so long for this episode. I judged myself too harshly, but I also realized I was not lazy. I was tired. And I realized that my trying something new was actually taking a break. And I'm so glad I did. But now here comes spring, trying to teach you not to confuse delay with death. Just because it hasn't happened yet doesn't mean it won't. Just because you haven't felt like yourself lately doesn't mean that version of you is gone forever. Just because the room has been quiet doesn't mean the story is over. Sometimes the most sacred work is happening underground. Roots don't get applause. Healing doesn't always look dramatic. Growth can be so quiet that you don't even realize it's happening until one day you respond differently, breathe differently, hope differently, and realize you're not where you used to be. That matters. So if this season finds you moving a little slower than everybody else, that's okay. Forward is forward. If your spring doesn't look like fireworks and fresh starts and overnight transformation, that's okay too. Maybe your version of springing forward looks like this. That could be getting out of bed without talking down to yourself. Words of affirmation matter. Love who you are. It could also look like answering the text you've been meaning to answer. If you're anything like me, I mentally respond all the time. But in my spring forward, I'm committing myself to physically respond. It could also look like taking a walk, opening the blinds in your house. Let some of that darkness out. Get some renewed light in. It could also look like drinking your water, even laughing again. cleaning one corner of the room, one room at a time. Letting yourself want something again. Or even believing that better days are not just for other people. That counts. Little signs of life are still signs of life. And nostalgia isn't always about going back. Sometimes nostalgia gets a bad reputation because people assume it means you want to go backward. But sometimes nostalgia is just your heart honoring what mattered. That old song that you listen to on repeat, it meant something then and it means something now. That old neighborhood, it meant something. Those spring afternoons from childhood when life felt wide open, they meant something. And it's okay to miss it. But nostalgia doesn't have to trap you. It can teach you. Maybe you don't need to go back to who you were. Maybe you just need to remember what made you feel alive back then. Was it freedom? Was it imagination? Was it simplicity? Was it community? Was it being present? Was it believing a good day could begin with sunshine and end with porch lights? I think that's the one that I think about the most. That's the real gift, you know? Nostalgia can help you recover pieces of yourself that adulthood tried to convince you were childish, unrealistic, or unnecessary. Maybe the reason spring feels so good is because it gives you permission to be a little lighter again. To not make everything heavy. To not make every moment a task. To not make every dream explain itself before you believe in it. Remember when joy used to be simple? You know, a cold drink, a favorite song, a fresh outfit, a ride with the windows down, a family cookout, a laugh that made your stomach hurt. Somewhere along the way, many of us made joy too expensive. But some of the best parts of life still come small. They still come ordinary. And they still come through moments that don't look important until later, when you realize they were. That's why spring matters. It reminds you that ordinary things can still feel magical when your heart is open to notice them. So I want you to have the courage to begin again. Because there is courage in beginning again. Not the dramatic kind. Not the kind with the big speech and a soundtrack behind it. The quiet courage. The courage to try after disappointment. The courage to stay soft after life has been hard. The courage to believe something good can still happen to you. The courage to stop calling it too late. Some of us have been carrying around this invisible timeline in our heads. I should be further by now. I should be over this by now. I should have figured it out by now. But healing, purpose, peace, love, creativity, clarity, none of those things move according to our panic. They come in season. If something in you is waking back up, don't rush to prove it. Protect it. Protect your joy. Protect your peace. Protect your hope. Spring forward does not mean force forward. It just simply means lean towards the light. Lean toward what nourishes you. Lean toward what reminds you who you are. Lean toward what brings life back into your spirit. Send the email. Write the thing. Take the walk. Call your people. That is most important. Buy the flowers. Rest without guilt. And dream again. Not because everything is perfect, but because you're still here. You do not have to bloom on command. You do not have to become brand new overnight. But you can honor the season you survived while still welcoming the one that's arriving. Maybe the word for this season is gently. Let yourself laugh a little more. Let yourself remember good things. Let yourself expect beauty again. Maybe it's okay to wake up too. Maybe it's okay to let joy find you again. Maybe it's okay to spring forward. Thank you for taking this recess with me today. Until next time, protect your peace, honor your pace, and make room for what is blooming in you. And as always, remember, whether it's today or any day moving forward, please take a recess for your soul because it's necessary.